So this is a spread that you can use called the Octahedron Spread, and if you've watched my video on week 6, then you know that the octahedron is a key figure with which we can code the largest structure of the tarot, particularly the major arcana. So I use this spread. Often I'll use it only with the major arcana. You can use it with a whole deck, no problem, but this is something that I use when I'm going to read for people who may or may not have a question. So there's a couple stages to it. The first stage I call the open stage, and what I'll do is I'll ask the querent to take a moment and perceive each one of these cards, and these are the major arcana. So I'll go through the entire deck and show them all of it, and I'll ask them to imagine that they're tasting wine or tea or whatever it is they like to drink, because when you do that, of course, you have this sensory experience. And what I'd like you to do is, as you perceive these works of art, I want you to register it on the level of the sensory experiences, of an aesthetic experience. And when you see something that you like the flavor of, or that jumps out at you as an emotion, please touch it. So what this does is it gets people out of their heads, so they're not doing cost-benefit analysis, and it gets them into the experience of the pictures, and they're listening to their emotions. And I ask them to touch 3. Sometimes they touch more, rarely they touch less, but this is a way of getting 3 cards. I'm going to choose 3 randomly because I'm going to do a reading here. But so I've got Justice, the Hangman, and Death. Okay. And normally when they choose the cards, they don't necessarily know what they mean. They're usually not tarot readers. So they go with their feelings. And it says you learn a great deal about the person as they perceive them. Do they do the cost-benefit analysis anyways? Are they gravitating towards happy cards? Are they gravitating towards upsetting cards? It tells you an enormous amount. In a way, this open part of the reading becomes the question. If you don't have a question, this will tell you what their concern is. And just based on the archetypes that they see. So it's an excellent way of selecting basically signifiers. These are signifiers. But in a way, it's telling us their question. And we get a great deal of information that we can help them with. The next part of it is I'll ask them to put make a stack, and put 1 on the top, 1 in the middle, and 1 on the bottom. And when I show them that, when I say that, I say 1 on the top, 1 in the middle, 1 on the bottom. I show them face down because I don't actually want to condition which one goes on top, middle, and bottom. I want them to really put an effort and make the choice. And this works for the same reason that the selection of archetypes works as a mirror. It works because above, middle, and below are universal. Every being, every terrestrial being has an experience of a horizon and phenomenon that occur above the horizon, phenomenon that occur below the horizon, and the horizon itself. So above, middle, and below are universals. And so they'll put it in an order, and we'll read it as the nadir, the zenith, and the center. And at this point, I tell them this is an axis. Imagine this is an axis, and I hold it up like this. And I will be forthcoming about the fact that this is an octahedron, but I'll say this is a vertical axis I might have like a selenite wand that I use as a visual cue as well. I have a couple objects that I use as visual cues. I find it's very helpful to anchor certain things, so that it helps people remember them. But this is a visual cue, and they might hold it, and I'll show it like this is this. I want you to think of the cards not as flat pictures, but as energies at these three different levels. The cards are just windows onto these energies. So here they are. And the Hangman is at the top, Justice is in the middle, and Death is below for me. So change, wisdom, balance. Okay. So once that's set up, then I introduce the closed part of the reading. In the closed part of the reading, we're going to use just the majors. You can use the others as well, but using just the majors is a good opportunity to tell a story. It's good. It's excellent for storytelling. However, you get a disadvantage, which is that you can't make a judgment based on how few or how many majors there will be. Right? Sometimes you can say, okay, the future is the most important part of your reading because that's where the major is. And there's no other majors anywhere else, or your reading has no majors, so everything's kind of pretty business as usual. You can't do that because everything's a major. Still, it's quite handy. And I will say, okay, shuffle the cards, and when you're ready, place a card to the left, to the right, below, and above. And it's okay. Some people think it has to go in this specific order. For me, I think people feel out which goes where. And I like these backs because I can avoid reversals. Sometimes reversals come up and I talk about them. I talk about them as cards that need extra effort to access, but not as opposite meanings. But at any rate, I've made sure there's no reversals here. And then the order that I reveal in is usually the past, the lovers, the unseen, and the seen. So past, future, unseen, seen, or unconscious, conscious. I like saying unseen or unknown because it's broader than just unconscious, conscious. It's not necessarily within your head. It's just this under the surface. So there's an indication that friendship, relationship, partnership has led to this moment. Here's the central. This is basically the present in its spiritual, its human, and its material dimensions. And now beneath this is, of course, the Chariot, so momentum. And then I'll always, of course, leave the future for last. Okay, Magician at the top, Magician in the Chariot. You can start to see the lines that are happening that are nice. Remember, this is a octahedron. This is the Octahedron Spread. So, and you can say to them, look, these energies would be up here in the middle plane, and this one's way up at the top, and this one's down there. So the cards are flat, but the energies are dimensional. And then strength. So, okay. So then I would proceed to read this. So this is obviously momentum, magic. I was thinking about the course, actually. So this is, and about some decisions and some, I was thinking, oh, okay, how's it going and stuff. And so this is my reading of that. So so this is a good reading for the course. Justice, I find, is very good in combination with the Chariot, because Justice is about balancing and truing things, and the Chariot needs to have all its parts very, very well oiled and very, very well balanced in order to move. So I can do lots of things with this. I'll often say that the future. This is the future as seen from the present. This is the present as affected by the past, right? So the past's influence on the present. the future's influence on the present, and of course the unseen and the seen. And in a way, these are not above and below, as often in say a Celtic cross spread, you'd say this is above and below. But of course, this is just, you could say it's northeast, southwest, right? These are the four corners. Anyway, it doesn't matter what language you use. The main point is you can actually convey to them that this is a octahedron, and if you have an octahedron, you can you can show it to them. And why would we do this? Well, I find it's very helpful to anchor the experience of a reading as much as possible in the querent's memory. Querents will forget a lot of what they're told, except for some very, a summary at the end. If they take a photograph, that's very, very good. If you give reports, that's good too, but you should be paid more for that. Another technique I use is the key. This is a key from an ancient temple, and what I might do is have them hold it, then if there's a certain particular card that comes up that they reveal something personal about themselves, and we've learned, okay, you have a problem with your spouse, or there's this, we've identified this particular key position in the reading. I might have them put, so I'll put it here because we're talking about truing the chariot. So I'll have them hold it and put it on the card, and this will create a kinesthetic memory. Similarly, when I want to uninvert cards, like let's say this card is upside down, I'm not going to say this means a bad relationship. I'm going to say, okay, there's a relationship in the past that is affecting the present, and there is something that you have to do in order for it to be used optimally. That's basically what I interpret an inverted card to mean. It's there's an extra bit of energy that you have to put into that before you can use it. So like the inverted tower, you can use the tower because it's about you taking advantage of crisis, escape. But if it's inverted, you're not ready to utilize the energy. So how do you get ready to utilize the energy? Well, you identify that fact, and you just ask the querent, okay, is there something that you can do that you're not doing yet? That's an extra output of energy that will help you access this card. And they'll usually say yes. I've only ever seen one person was like, no. They were clearly like, they were having a block, and they would not uninvert the card. Once they've identified it and named it, then I say, okay, you can turn it around. And then of course they physically turn it around. It's like turning taps on and off. And so it's not like, oh, strength, no, sorry, it's weakness. Lovers, no, sorry, it's estrangement. It's not like that. It's an energy that you either have in flow or the flow is turned off. So the flow has to do with your own energy. How active are you engaging with it? And so when I have someone physically turn that card back around, interact with it, they will get a physical memory of it. And to me, that's really important, is to identify those places in the story you're telling that that you could use an anchor. And you can use any one of these sorts of objects. I have stones, I have different kinds of things to create also incense, but different things to create memory fusion. And then of course, the act of showing them that this is an octahedron, that this is a cohesive crystal, and showing them this, they will remember that, and it'll help the reading itself become a single energetic entity, and it will help it gel. So this is the octahedron spread, and once you've done the reading, it's wise to come up with some one sentence summary. So building on the momentum of partnership, making the necessary sacrifices to balance the magical vehicle will enable me to go forward with golden energy. And that summary is really the narrative that you're giving to the person, which is a type of medicine for confusion and doubt. And that's tarot. The octahedron spread.